Hello everyone and welcome back to some more WARNO League action as we are going into Division 3 today and into Division 4. So having a look at the newer faces to the league and the up-and-comers here. And we're starting in the Division 3 with a player here on the right side that might be familiar to people who follow the content lately, as we have Jumbeck here on the right side, who I just faced in the PFI quarterfinals. And he is up against Broke Ass Spaghetti. So a player that plays quite actively and plays quite a bit. And yeah, both of them here trying to get one step closer to the playoff stage with a matchup that is fantastically hot as well. Come back on his signature division, 25th Pankovi coming around against Broke Ass Spaghetti on the other side, moving in with first armored cavalry division here. So two heavy armored division on a map that is not that great for heavy armored division usually. It's not a terrible map to play nowadays, as you can play the Feodor angle. But with center still being around, with all of this wood still being around that you somehow have to cover with your recon and so on, still not super easy. Yep, it's gonna be interesting to see who is getting out ahead in this one. We have Me 24Ks and Me 8 Rockets moving around. And we have the T64 OBR 83s here immediately coming in as well. So it seems like we will... No, it's actually really defensive OBRs. It's going to be interesting to see where the helicopters will go. Conkers in the north so far. Pretty defensive setup as well. We have helicopters bringing in recon infantry into Anna directly. Okay, we go for a town fight with a division that has the most restrictive infantry tab in the game. AT group here coming around the Bedfords. Those bring around double law 80, so quite nice there. And then for stopping any vehicle pushes. And cavalry scouts in Humvee AGLs will move into the center point here as well. Whilst up north, the engineer M67, one of the main reasons why this deck is viable. Like this engineer squad that can deal good damage against light vehicles and infantry and win fight against nearly any infantry out there if it starts to engage on medium range, is one of the reasons why this division is actually viable. Like without that, that infantry tab would just be kind of lost. And then we have aircraft troopers going around immediately as well. So kind of an opener that you likely wouldn't see like this in any of the higher divisions, as it's maybe not 100% efficient, but it is for sure an interesting one. I like the double Avengers here as well, moving in with an M2 Bradley. And yeah, then we have a slow CV that will roll up to Dimitri, Boris, and then maybe into Anna if the opening into Anna is achieved. Whilst up on front, we have the ITAS, which is a pretty strong recon vehicle here. Losing the reloads for its ITO launcher for a really strong recon optics array here in the rear that allows it to go up to exceptional optics, making it the perfect unit to bring around with your tank blob, because it can spot a lot of units even before they fire, and for sure can spot any ATGM position or so when it starts firing at you, so that you still might be able to get a shot off before the ATGM actually hits your units. And even immediately in SU-27 as well, like, Chunbeck has so few units on the battlefield as well. This is kind of a wild start, and oh boy, it does get even wilder. An SU-25 in the sky, Phantom on the other side. So this opener here, already high risk on the side of Chunbeck, trying to get some important kills from the get-go. Has the better fighter in the sky. And the SU-25 here moving in. So let's see how this one will go, as it is flying in here, lurking for some kills. And tries to go for Blackhawk, does get pushed back by the Phantom. The Phantom for it pays with its life, so that might have been a worthwhile sacrifice here for Rogue S, as he pushes back both SU-27 and SU-25 here. The Me-24K though is on the hunt now. He is going to hunt the Blackhawk, has the way better cannon against the 7.6mm guns here on the side. So the 12.7mm Yak B can shoot down the Blackhawk out of the sky before it can land. and can go on the hunt for further units as well. 2 new planes coming in, Phantom and SU-27, both not dying, but the SU-27 actually taking more damage as both are forced to retreat. The aircraft troopers here get shut down. The Black Hawk maybe should have just retreated for now when it saw the Mi-24K, as it is speed-wise only a bit slower, so the Mi-24K cannot hunt it all that well and wait for the Avengers to arrive. This way, you lose the unit for sure. And both the unit inside and the Black Hawk, they're dying as well. So the Mi-24K already basically has paid off. We also see May 8 rocket transport helicopters now. You see a good bit more of them since the reload got cheaper. So yeah, my hopes that would bring the effect that we would see more Mi-8 rockets and in general light rocket helicopters a bit more. Seems to be going well so far. But yes, the upcoming weeks will see tell if it's actually something that is viable in the meta. Currently, for sure, people are trying out, which is a good sign. We have the next Phantom and SU-27 battle here in the sky. This time around, similar damage on both sides. Phantom and SU-27 both falling back. Avenger is not close enough to get a shot off here. So the Mi-24K and the T-64 can move in here towards the south to assist the rest of the forces of Chunbek here to secure center. And at the same time, Theodore a bit more in the hands of Proc S, as with all the SU-27 investments, like, there has not been a single ground unit being bought on either side, kinda. Like, there is a pivot now, but Phantom is the next investment here again. Another SU-27 on the other side, as we have a Paved Tiger coming in. This is not a recon drone. What it is instead is an E-warfare drone. It finds enemy radar AA, and it also improves the capabilities of all aircraft around by buffing up their ECM. So this little thing is a really unique unit. It's the only unit of its type, and it's only available in the first Armored Cavalry Division. So quite interesting to see it around. You usually don't see it, as the air slots are rather tight, and you'd rather just have something that actually can hit the enemy around there. Over the long term, SU-27 will shoot it down eventually here with its long-range missiles. But engineers and what Strike is here engaging. 27 moving around again, trying to shoot down the Paved Tiger, and it will do so. And there go your 60 points and part of your important air slot without really achieving anything outside of costing the enemy a bit of time, a bit of reload time here with the missile. Whilst we have Motostralky moving around, BRM-1K moving in as well. We have AT groups in the south, AT groups over here. Motostralky moving forward, enabling the C-64s here to see a good bit more. So they can engage against the Engineer M67. Conquerors can engage against the Avenger as well. Avenger here in a tough spot, trying to disengage now, but will be spotted by the T-64 and will be in gun range. Will get taken out here, and the Engineer's bit stuck as well, so Avenger kill, quite important. 95 points. Really expensive unit there. Also, we have the first M1 Abrams moving in, which is a bit weaker than the T-64 at short range, but obviously has a max range fire control system and the better accuracy there. So can start dealing some damage to the T-64 from further away, and even on the shorter range, thanks to the better accuracy, still could win the fight. As we have AT groups and pivots and so on here, holding at least still some contact into the center point, and we finally see some ground units being invested into. Supply truck to resupply the Mi-8 rocket, as the north was held by a single Conqueror's missile launcher. Like, rockets could have been here already with everything, with the infantry, which have just realized that there is no opposition that actually can fire on any infantry. Well, T-64 is holding the line quite nicely over here. Like, yeah, doing such an open on Black Forest is just kind of insane, but it is currently winning the game for Chunbek here. It is going surprisingly well, considering that it was really uncharacteristic opener for this map, for understandable reasons. What the Strelke BMPs? coming in something that is clearly not a BMP. Thatch noise is there, but makes sense. Saving a bit of points, saving a bit of time with these units moving faster to the front line. As we see Mi-8, the rockets being reloaded, soon to move to the front line again. Before OBR-83 will be able to rotate around here as well. Saperi RPO moving up. Motostrelki, BMP moving to the front line as well. As we have more units here slowly moving into the south. As the Iglas move on to the front line here as well. We'll move into these two places here to try to prevent the helicopters from getting through. You have decent Cobra helicopters in first ACAP as well, so those you want to stop from getting anywhere close to your T-64s and your infantry with their rockets and tow missiles. As the ITAS is now moving in for the south, is actually trying to get a bit further south here. I guess it seems like Procast is maybe just a bit too scared of the opponent's division here. So obviously plays a really heavy and expensive division as well, so any losses are pretty tough to replace. And he took the worst trades early on. Yeah, really, the loss of the two transport helicopters pretty painful. And I mean, he has it equalized right now. Neither side is ticking, but I feel like he could have gotten away with a lot more space at this point already. So obviously way, way easier to say from my perspective here, where we see everything on the battlefield, than when you're down in the thick of it with only really limited recon options and getting your line of sight onto the enemy. BMP2 moving up here through the center, as we have a BMP1 Conquers and a T-64A moving in as well. P1P Conquers, pretty good compared to the normal BMP ones in this matchup. The Fagots can actually be good against the normal Bradleys, but against the Brad with 6 frontal armor, you actually want the Conquerors, as that is needed. That 20 penetration is needed to one-shot kill these heavy M2A2s. And also against the M1 Abrams, the Fagot only would deal 1.5 damage, and against the MOD only 1 damage, whilst the Conquerors is dealing, I believe, 4 damage to the normal Abrams, and then 3.5 damage to the M1 MOD. So a good bit more damage, like only needing only needing 3 missiles instead of 10 to 7 missiles to get the kill there. Like that's a quite significant change. As in the north, we see more infantry with Mi-8T rockets being brought up, but the Avenger already pushing back the rocket helicopter. The infantry still will fall though in the north, and any infantry going down for first ACAF is annoyingly hard to replace because you just have so limited slots in that division. It tries to basically use its infantry just as defensive tower defense units that stand around and don't really engage and block the enemy like the engineers can do so well, whilst the vehicles actually do the active fighting, because your infantry just is not a resource you can use up too quickly. Otherwise, you just end up in a late game where you have no infantry available to you at all, and that's just kind of unwinnable at that point. And yeah, AT group here moving around. Yes, half the damages are saved. Like these are all 100%. I think it's based on a percentage basis, so like even lower inclinations than half damage on hit points are saved, and it's the same for HP hit points as well. Just not represented here. It's actually better represented on the stats card that you can see here. Like you can see this Motostrelki here. It shows the full hit points here, but you can see it already took a couple of shots and has slight damage on the unit card below it. It just isn't safe down here. So if something does 3.5 damage, it actually does 3.5 onto the enemy's 10 hit points, or whatever the hit points are. Like, I'm not quite sure up to which point it is calculated, but like for AP that doesn't matter because it's only in 0.5 steps. But for HE damage against vehicles and so on, I think it's in percentage, like up to the second step behind the comma or the dot. Yeah, Abrams here, and Ita's getting around for an interesting flanking attack here. I like the idea. I'm not quite sure if there's enough for the execution to be quick and fast and successful enough. Like, I would have liked a lot another infantry here. It's actually just more and more tanks going through the forest. Like, on paper, terrible idea, but that's what the French thought as well. And then the attack through the Ardennes came. So let's see if the Americans can do the same to the Soviets here in the Black Forest. As the M1 Abrams is pushing through. A bit more unwieldy than the Panzer II, but also a bit more powerful. As they are moving through here towards the Motoswalki. With some AT groups getting into an amazing ambush position here in the rear. If you get them over here, they can just fire away. So this could be really quite strong. As we have phantoms in the sky as well to protect us all. And yeah, the numbers are okay. Going in. And we have the BRM 1K moving in as well. We see SU-27s moving in number. The two phantoms in the sky. Rapiers and pivots on the ground that will reveal kind of that there is something over here, but that is revealed now one way or the other. The SU-25 did not die earlier, so it should be repaired here at this point. Could be annoying at this stage, and yeah, the first M1 Abrams already gets shut down by the combination of BMP-1 and T-64s here in a good position. ITA's now coming up. That should reveal... Oh no, it's not even far enough forward to reveal the T-64, and the Conquerors and another T-64 are moving around. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, a couple of infantry units here revealing this whole thing would have been helpful. One Phantom and one SU-27 going down, and that's just two SU-27 stacked, I believe, directly on top of each other. I think those were two on top of each other. It only shows us one being dead here, but I think that's all three SU-27 dead. I believe that was a double kill. Okay. So that is a massive air victory. Killing off the SU-27s here. Massive, massive victory. But now you still need to win the ground fight. You at least have the ambush on the rear zone. Oh, but the AT-4 group might... the AT group might be found by the Mi-24 here. It's flying a bit too far to the side here. So the AT group will not engage it with its L-85s. And that way the Mi-24 will not spot it. And there is enough anti-helicopter here to go around. There's an F-16 cluster bomber. These are the buffed cluster bombers with 4 Rockeyes. Can be really quite solid against tanks, but were used against infantry in a building here. Not quite as effective there. Still good enough to get the pivot here to keep up some pressure. The Conqueror's pretty close to dying as well. As we have the SU-25 rocket moving in, but it does not see anything. Oh, and the pivot is chewing into it. Stressing it out quite heavily. As the T-64s did not give the extra vision here. The Conquerors did go down. SU-25 not able to fire. One T-64 went down. Same time though, push starts to appear here for Chunbek in the north with a good couple of T-64s. On the other side we have an M1 MOD. We have some Brads. So there is not nothing around there. And the AT does get the CV and the ETAs. Pivot still chewing into it as well, but there's only a really damaged M1 CV and one normal M1 and an infantry unit and a Dream. AT group here about to engage at the same time. Colt going down in the north. The SCU does survive again. AT group actually in a terrible spot when it comes to line of sight. Not able to see the MTLB Strela here that is moving in. And the BMP desperately trying to defend itself as more reinforcements moving in for Procast Spaghetti down here. So has to defend up north as well now. Got the T-64, got some moderate Redka in the north as well. But he is under decent pressure here as well. T-64 is pushed back. As we see the SU-25 Rocket 1 moving in. Getting the AT group here that gets spotted there out in the open. So no successful ambush for that at all, actually. But we see Phantoms moving in here for the SU-25. So that one is toast as well. Does kill the CV Abrams, though. So no CV in the south here for a while. New CV has to be brought up. The BMP-1 CV for Chunbek can disengage, whilst new reinforcements could be brought up to the south. At the same time, he is still trying to get into the north there. M1 Abrams on the side here actually goes down as well to the T-64 OBR, as it did not have any recon around. It engaged the Saperi RPO. That allowed the T-64 to get on its flank and get the kill. CV BMP-1 at least goes down as well. A pretty attritional heavy war here, and something that both of these guys cannot really afford at this point, because these attritions are not made for these kind of divisions. Like, these divisions do want to keep their combined arms up, and when you start to go above the 260 points of losses on both sides each minute, then that combined arms starts to fall apart quite quickly again. So let's see how this continues. Who will lose their combined arms faster here is seemingly the mode right now, unless they take the foot from the pedal. But it does not seem to be the case here. M2A2 Brad goes down, and those are the most expensive IVs in the game. 100 points there. T64 does overextend a bit. The MOD with its 21 pen gun can take them out quite quickly. The BMP-1 he conquers, not able to get a hit. No reload on these Conquerors here right now. T-64 not being repaired. New CV comes around for the north. BMP smoking off. Ostwalki defending their position there a bit, but still Theodore in blue hands, and at the same time, blue is about to take over center here as well. CV tank finally being brought up, and thanks for the Prime subscription, Brilliant Taste. Hope you're having a good day, and 07 to you as well. As we have T-64 B1s moving in as well. Yeah, hope you had a good day, and hope you're having a good time here with some WARNO League action. As we have a Phantom FGR2 in the sky. Solid gun pod here below. Sky flashes, AM9Ls. We have two Mi-8T rockets here behind on the other side, but Comeback currently not having an angle to push into any zone right now. T-64 B1 moving up north again. DK will meet it there, but yeah, no angle yet to actually get into any zone for longer. So that is the problem. As we have Autostrelki BMP moving around. And yeah, the Autostrelki here moving. Moderate Red guy moving up. Conquers moving in here as well. And yeah, Conquers firing against the MOD. And yeah, we're probably wondering, we will have Chloride on the stream as well over the upcoming days. I just wanted to have some fast streams out over these couple of days, and to two caster streams are actually a bit more exhausting than one caster streams, because you always have to consider what the other guy is saying and not falling into the word and so on. Like, uh, and yeah, the last weeks were exhausting, and I just wanted to have some fun, quick stream and cast. But obviously, especially when it gets to the playoffs, but also over the upcoming weeks, and likely also on the weekend, we're gonna have some double casts again of the group station. All will be fun. But yeah, it's just after long work days, I just wanted to have some quick casts so that we can get as many games casted as possible without me having my brain freeze. And yeah, Motorstrelke here in the south, holding the line. As T64B1 around. I just wanted to point it out because Thorit was just texting me. Yeah, no worries there, guys. We'll have doubles casts on the channel as well again. Have Troopers 84 going down as well. Conkers aging the M2A2 Brad, which actually does survive a Conqueror's hit because I forgot about the era. I am absolutely talked yes earlier. It survives with 1 hit point because it has 11 hit points and it only takes 10 damage there, as you can see right there. So, but still, obviously, a lot more effective than the Fagot that leaves it, I believe, with 6 hit points even. And then would need 3 missiles. And 1 hit point also can be attritioned away by anything else. As we see T64 dying on the other side as well, though. Retretka BMP2's going down as well, so the ATGM wall is holding, and the capture of the south did work out. The Ardennes offensive of Brook as Spaghetti has been successful, and now this assault here into this town starts to work out as well. They both slowed down a bit, so the attrition rate lately has not been quite as high, but obviously now with this big push of Chanbek, who needs to push to stop the take, this has become higher attrition combat again. And currently nothing here on Chanbek's side that really can deal with these M1s. And yeah, that's always a bit of the issue of the Pact side, that they need to actually use hard power in form of either stupid bomb, or dumb bombs, dumb artillery. Not quite stupid, but like it's just strategy-wise, just like clear forward, dumb bomb drops, cluster bombs just dropped on target, artillery strike just hitting the whole area, and then just moving forward with tank guns and hitting the enemy as hard as possible, because their missiles cannot quite do it. Like, they don't have Milan 2 and Milan and TOW kind of stopping power in their missiles usually. Like, we have the attackers in one division so far. We have the Conquerors M in a couple more, but not all that many, and even that only has 23 pen. As we have the Conquerors here engaging from the side. And yeah, MiG-27K moving around, fires a missile. Spectre here is an Avengers engaging as well. As the Conquerors moves in here and tries to get a hit towards the M35 supply truck in the south. Does get a hit, does get a kill. Bradley here against the Ural. Does miss though. So the Conquerors in this church tower here, kinda the center of hope for Chanbek over here. But yeah, Chanbek never quite able to get enough T64s into one spot to really be able to push through there. Really circle them through and get like enough pushing power there to just roll over a position. And that's for sure a problem. As we see another Su-25 flying in, trying to get the kill here onto the enemy Apache. Apache under fire, does not quite get killed. The tractor up here does get the Su-25 killed off, as the T-64 BK is sitting in the smoke there. Conquerors pushing forward. Ooh, and here on the cluster bomber. And there is not all that much AA, and it gets the T-64 killed. T-64 bites the dust. Yep, that they now relatively reliably killed 3 top armor tanks makes the F-16C clusters so deadly. Good survivability, as you could just see there with the Coop not hitting. And also decent efficiency when it comes to deal with helicopters and um, having a good chance of actually pushing back any fighter that jumps them as well by just shooting 2 good sidewinders at them. As we see the T-64 DK going down as well. ATGMs moving around from any side, trying to get hit. Yeah, don't let that know to the people who always cry about the U.S. Air Force. Like, why? Like that cluster bomber is really strong now, but they won't take that. The soft power skills of it on the side are so strong. For example, stronger than the East German MiG-21 cluster bomber now that only has 8 hit points, so it gets one tapped by Coops and IHawks. And on top of that also has way less ECM and no chance against enemy fighters because it cannot shoot at them at all and cannot stress them out, push them back. As Motostralky is here trying to hold on, Cold trying to push forward. Currently, 2 units in the ground action start dying again, but the F-16 cluster moving in again here. And the Coops, only one of them firing. Second of them missing, and yeah, another T-64B does bite the dust. CM coming into play here again. Rockeyes getting the kills. More Coops, Trillas enter the battlefield. And yeah, you have to see LGP trying to engage over here against the T-64 as well. So the big T-64 ball gets pushed back. At least the tick is stopped here for a second for Chanbek. But artillery is re-engaging. T-64B1 smoking off. Another T-64B does move back. And yeah, B1 here sitting around. One in the south. Engaging against the Colts. Colts under fire. Bulky BMP pushing up towards the north. LGP trying to engage the Conquerors. As we have the M2A2 Brads. The M2 Bradley IFV here. Still sitting in a good formation over here, but maybe given up this tree line here a bit too quickly now, not testing this zone. Like smoke mortar would have been really helpful here on the side of Broken Spaghetti. But keeping the angle here for side shots with ATGMs open, like smoking here so that you could get a CV in there, would have been helpful. At the same time though, Gunback not really having the pushing power right now to get into any of the other zones. Like you would need a lot of infantry to push down south, and that's not really there. You would need a good tank plop again to move into this zone, or maybe even into Dimitri. And the side is running away from just taking Boris, and just taking a +1/+2 situation. Like for now, +1 even still would be enough to swing this game around. Or at least get to a draw situation, actually, even. Only +1 only would be 100 points right now. But and a +2 still would get you a solid win, but obviously that time is getting away, and you still will need time until you get to those points. So the push has to start about now here for Chunback, and I don't quite see the resources for this on the battlefield. That is worrying here. No resources on the map here for Shenbek to do this just yet. LGP reaching T-64B1. We have 2 F-16C clusters moving in. Artillery doing a good job. SU-27S on the other side. Moving in. First missile fired out. Does miss the target. There is a bit of AA still on the ground. Tractor up here, able to fire here. As the SU-27 just going through the skies. Cluster bombers still sharking around there in the rear. Another missile out. That one does hit its target. F-16 pushed back. Will be out for a long repair. Only barely coming in before the end of the battle here again. As the next R-27 are likely about to be fired. No, not quite the angle for it. See a lot of Mi-80 rockets here just chilling in the rear. But this is the area that Comeback kind of has to get to push into, and Burnley not setting up super well. New artillery with only 8 minutes remaining, with the enemy being ahead in points. Likely not the way here. As Superior RPO engages engineers M67. 16C. Rotating around again. Not able to find a hit yet. Conquers here under fire as the M1 plop does push up again. The combination of M1s and the Bradleys here right now is exactly what American strategists hoped this would look like. Good ATGMs assisting the tank fights on the front line. F-16C cluster not getting through though. But the Apache here, yeah, this is the mechanized combined arms that you want here as a NATO player. Getting the Air Force around with your combination of good IFV plus good MBT. Just keeping the enemy busy and taking out Soviet MBTs here bit by bit, where the support is not quite as powerful. Trella 10M gets a shutout, gets the kill, gets killed as well, but the kill on the Apache is the important part here, which is crashing into the ground. T-64B on the flank here, getting into the engagements as well, but gets taken out too. B1 engaging against the M1 Abrams does get taken out as well, does explode here in the fireball, as we see the CV getting actually back in here for Broker Spaghetti, so Broker's increasing the lead even further here, and that is just the end of it, as our player Ian Red knows that they're done for here. Sean Beck being out of this, and Broker's taken map number 1 here. GGVP. First ACAF, really interesting division. A hot matchup here from start to finish. So, well played here by both. And yeah, I'm excited. It's a pretty close game still. And I'm excited for game number 2 here as well. As Broken Spaghetti seems to, and Shavik both seem to be into heavy tongs. And we'll see if we get that here in game 2 as well. So, yeah, quick break, guys. And then we're going to be back with Beck versus Broken Spaghetti, game 2. So here we go. Game number 2, and Broker Spaghetti is up 1-0 as we're back on Thaler, a map that Chunbeck does like quite a bit. As he already fired his 25th shot though, which was the map where the division that he beat Penna with on this division map. And yeah, 25th in general, one of his favorite divisions. On the other side, Brooks is playing second Mortal Strelky, but Chunbeck going into the T-72 division this time. The fast one of those though, with 7th Panzer. Starting out here with a good couple of East German T-55 Ace on the battlefield here. Well, it's Clever trying to use the slight forward deploy advantage that you have with the 7th Panzer here. We have the BTR-80s bringing in Guardetzi in the south. Second, obviously, the division with the heaviest tank in the game, the T-80UD OBR-89. And that also has a decent amount of other tanks around that and a good standard modernized Soviet mech force with BMPs and with the BTR-80s and the Mortal Strelkies inside of those. BTR-80, really nice APC, does have 10 hit points, does have 2 armor on the front and the sides, and does have the smoke launchers together with 2 solid MGs, KPVTs with its 4.5mm, dealing a bit more damage than a 50 cal or Dushka. It's just a slight bit heavier there. And yeah, both sides bringing around 30mm grenade launchers onto the battlefield as well. Let's see. SVDs here with the Resolute trait, the guards, the Moscow guards moving around here. They fight the East Germans that don't need to be guards, because they're the guards of communism, the bulwark to the west. They have Resolute on everything. It's still one of the funniest kind of Eugen story arcs that somehow all the East Germans were the most resolute fighters known to mankind. I mean, I don't think they were that bad, but also I'm not quite sure, especially in 1989, if that was really all that true, considering that in real life that was the year where it all fell apart. Not through an army coup, to be fair, uh, but yeah, still motivation maybe not superior to everybody else. Maybe a bit too deep into the propaganda on Eugen's end. So it creates more interesting gameplay. So, and as an East German, it's extra funny in my eyes. Yeah, there are still a lot of jokes about how the NLA was superior to the Bundeswehr when it came to like training and like baseline organization. Obviously not in technology, but like that they would have been if they would have moved in on Friday because they all were ready and no one went home at the weekend. The Bundeswehr would have only recognized it on Monday when they were hitting the Rhine because they were all home for the weekend. And jokes like that. So like yeah, I think there is the standards. I don't think they if I had a massive morale issue or anything like that. When you read about the other bloc countries like Poland or Czechoslovakia, you could even argue for 1989 they should have a more generally spread out morale penalty. The will to fight there for sure was not all that high. I think the East Germans still were quite decently ready for it, even in 1989 when it came to the Nationale Volksarmee. But yeah, that's beyond the game here. As we're back into it here with MiG-23s flying over all of it. Self-clearers moving in, BTR-80s getting out here on the other side. Westrodredka self-clear will look into each other's eyes. Cortese, Bunkers, and the military grenade launchers all moving in here to try to fight the fight. As BMP-1 does not hit the B-50, only now getting it with the gunshot. But Selfler getting out there, and this push in the north here, an interesting one from Chunbeck. Whilst in the center, Selfler disengaging. The longer the game goes with low attrition, the better for Broke S. So Chunbeck kind of wants to start the attrition from the get-go. So far, only losing his transports though, not gaining anything just yet, but he's moving around here with some SPW-70, which are the older brother, but also the 5 points cheaper brother of the BTR-80. And so, and gun-wise, it's similarly powerful. It's just lacking 2 hit points, and especially the smoke launcher. But as a pure fire support, it on paper is just a bit more cost efficient. And the T-55s here getting into the fight as well. Push here is real into the enemy northern zone. MiG-23s above all of this. A really cost efficient fighter as well. 165 points. Only 10% ECM, but has a solid long range missile with the R-24R. And 4 R-60Ms at least allowed to fire a lot of those out as well. The MiG-23s keep up cruising above this. MiG-21 cluster moving out this early, but yeah, with the MiG-23s, that obviously is really risky. 240 points, quite expensive. It can one-shot everything, but still pretty damn pricey. As we have the +1 here for Chunbeck now going in. Watchits and the Pioneers moving up. SPW 50 PU getting into the northern zone as well. As we have Potok moving around through the south. T-55A, SPW 70, sieging the northern fights here. Watchits and Pioneers will get into the zones as well. At the BTR 80, get the Watchits, the Mod Rashvedka. As the Rapira is assisting from the side. Osa moving up north as well, but more ground units here needed for Broke Spaghetti, and this is the kind of attritional fights that I was talking about early on. This is what 7th Panzer needs. It can sacrifice some of its T-55s, even some potentially some of its T-72s here, just to keep up the fight and keep up the pressure and keep the attrition high on the other side, where replacing these losses becomes tougher and tougher, especially as you don't have endless affordable units as well. Eventually you have to go for the more expensive units like the BMP-2 with Motostrelkis instead of the BMP-1 infantry and stuff like this. Mi-24 P-80 moving in the south. Currently not really a direct hit chance on anything. As MiG-21 cluster do get their shot off, do fail to get the hit though. Everything moved away. And the Coop does get a good hit here, does get a kill as well. And yeah, hey there, Tommy. Brokas is really active on the ladder. Good to see that, yeah, all these guys trying to improve. In general, one ranked ladder currently feels decently healthy when it comes to the player numbers. I'm not so happy with the map pool there, but I don't want to bore you all with that storyline again. Pioneers and Watchitson up on the front line. T-55s here, dealing with the Gairetsi. We have the T-64, T-72 B1 OBR 84, which is the one with the amazing 18 frontal armor. So a really good tank as well, but does cost 210 points. As the Potok does go down up north here as well, and the T-55s in their element. These are the kind of ranges where they want to be. So against that T-72, that's still not good enough. So they have to disengage for now. +1 for red side does stay active for now though. No pressure from Procast into the south. The fight currently is fully here, and the T-72 is eating a lot of shots here. T-55 could maybe even come around to finish it off, as the BMP-1s are forced back. Mochitson not able to get an AT launcher hit off there. The T-55 not able to shoot either, so the T-72 does survive for now. As we see more AT gems flying. getting the SPW-50. Okay, both sides losing their CVs. Strelas and Osas moving in here to give some AA cover. No supply truck, though, from Broke S, and that's a big mistake in my eyes. The lack of a supply truck right now to repair these vehicles. That does cost so much time here right now. As we have another ATGM flying, trying to get a hit. T-72M1 getting the BRDM. Conquers does move up north here as well as the reinforcements for Chanbek. Fully committed to the north as well. Both sides here currently just pushing more and more points in there. As we see BRDM still sitting around here. Pioneer on a defensive spot. Spezialaufklärer sitting around there in the rear. 5A moving up, getting closer. Motostralki, oh, the Goretzky on the other side rather, just getting stunned down here, getting taken apart by the extra firepower there from the T-55. Can just help out with Vidushka, PKT, and the 100mm gun to stun down the Motorchwetka. Get the kill. T-72 gets the Rapira here as well. B-24P did rotate up north. He's coming in here to kill the BMP-2. And that means all of these units here in trouble as well. Osa should be careful. As Conquers is around as well. And is going for the Osa immediately, taking out the Osas. Oh no, Proc Spaghetti is losing too many units here in succession. Like, this combined arms situation is falling apart rapidly for our player on the blue side here. As one unit after another does start biting the dust here. 30mm grenade launcher. He's engaging the Plamia. Conquers will get in here against the BTR-80 as well. One more BTR-80 in the north, but yeah, the north is basically not pushable right now anymore for Proc Spaghetti. They don't have the infantry to do so, and there is an A launcher here in this town as well. Starting to deal with the Mi-24, so that is pushed back to Lamia and Kadetsi taken out to Chambek with one positive trait after another here right now. So the situation is looking fantastic for our player to in red, and our player in blue will have to find a way to stop the attrition rate without losing any further points and territory right now. And from the current standpoint, that is going to be tough. Needs to find a way to how to assemble his superior T-72s, or maybe even one of the insane T-80s without losing cohesion on the front line by not having enough combined arms around anymore. As you see, Spetsvertretka engaging the Spezialaufklärers here. Both sides getting away with it. Motschitz and BTR moving over the hill here right now. Will get into the fight behind the BTR-80. Perry and Gwadetsi moving around. Spezialaufklärer. He wants BTR moving up north. 24P. In the Gwadetsi. And Saperi. Area PO there under fire as well. Igla pushing forward. Getting killed off. And it's only blue units falling currently. It's only blue units falling. Broker Spaghetti finally gets a D55A here again, but he's just not getting any kills outside of this. Like, the unit's currently not engaging in combined arms situations. Yes, his combined arms has collapsed basically, and it's all isolated forces trying to fight for survival, and just going terribly. BMP-1 does get taken out by the Motschitz near immediately. BMP-2 that is even. And second BMP-2 under fire. They are high at BMP-2, which makes their autocannon at least pretty deadly, but the same time also means that your availability on them is pretty low. So the situation here, not great. And situation is getting even worse now with Chanbek getting a CV into the center here, getting it up to a +2 now. And the combined arms situation being less and less existent here on the blue side, losing another Goretzky as the infantry numbers here in the north, only one infantry. Good couple of vehicles, but they cannot really get closer, and there is enough anti-vehicle power here on the red side. In the infantry launches alone, but also with all the T5s, T72s, and so on. So that you do not break through that as the second cards out any massive setup again. And with the +2, the setup time has been reduced a good bit as well. And in general, the traits just continue to be bad. OSA and BMP2, they're dying. 30 mm grenade launcher. It does go down on the other side at least, but CV even having to run away from the Modschützen BTR there in the middle. So it will be a +3 in a second. And yeah, we have a D22, D31 22mm way around. Engaging stealth clevers, trying to get some kills, but the artillery coming in a bit late. The other side can easily afford artillery likely now as well to counter battery and all. Or just buy more stuff to push through. As the +3. Yeah, TC72 B1 being up there. The more blue units going down. And yeah, this is about it here now. TCMA2 going down, OSA going down, Mi-24Ks and Rocket variant trying to move forward, but there are enough Iglas, Strelas, Coops behind all of this. Next OBR goes down, and yeah, there we have the GG. There we have the GG. East Germany succeeding here with 7 Panzer, Chanbek playing it correctly, keeping up the attrition rate, and Broker Spaghetti just not quite getting the combined arms onto the battlefield here, with Chanbek, due to this, taking map number 2, getting a draw right here in the end. So, well played there. Keeping up the chances here for the playoffs at a decent point for both sides, with the first game being a draw. Yeah, with that said, we're gonna get our next game, which we will get from Division 4. So, quick break, guys. We're gonna be back with the next cast of WARNO League, and the first one from Division 4 for this season. Hello everyone and welcome back to the WARNO League here with the 4 as we have our first game here this season. We have Daniel versus Morok, and we have Daniel here on the left side in red, bringing in the 27 guards, and Morok playing the first armored cavalry, so two divisions of pretty like heavily mechanized, expensive combined arms action. So first, ACAF has a bit more speed in the opener, as 27th though has slightly better couple minutes afterwards in my eyes. So whilst both sides are trying to get into the late game, combined arms full on flashed out action. The maps Mount River and Stoneware here. 27th versus first 11th ACAF, then Ward 19th versus 79th. So two old school matchups. And in general, really interesting division picks as well. 119 versus 79. One of the OG matchups for sure as well. The division that had the UDs in the really early days versus the one that stole it from them, together with the Buratino. But the TDBV ICD is obviously really agile and so on as well. And the Cluster Bomber SU-27 thing, 79th, they're right on top of competitiveness ladder as well. Tier list still likely S tier. As we have Engineer Flashes, Mech Rifles. Whilst we have Mech Rifle Dragons moving around here. And yeah, as I already talked about it, when we created, like when I revealed the groups, I think Division 4 is the most competitive it ever has been. Not based on like it has the highest skill level ever. So I think it has the highest skill floor it ever had. And at the same time, it does not have any like players that are outright favorites. I don't think there is a favorite in Division 4 this season because all of them are around a similar skill level. Like they're all between 45 to 49% win rate, like rank 1000 to 2000. They all have played some games. So there are no complete newbies. There are on the other side, and also no guys that are just way out there. Like there are a good couple of staples from previous seasons, casual players that have signed up in previous seasons and are here in the WARNO League to just have fun and see where it gets them, and they can get a breakout this season around if they put in the work. And then there are some fresher players that, if they put in the work, for sure can likely grind through it. But who that is and who we will see on the top in the end, I just cannot say this season, and that's really exciting. Plus, it's always exciting to see what players outside of the direct meta bubble on the top of the divisions come up with. And yeah, what we were gonna see here. LRS moving around, going pretty deep, a bit too deep likely. Ah, realizing that that might have been too deep. Morok is moving slightly back here. LRS moving up here together with some scouts and Humvee AGLs. Ooh, the LRS has to be careful. Okay, I think it gets out because it's in the shadow of the building. And then gets a hit against the BTR-80, but good smoke there from Daniel. The AGL of the Humvee immediately gets to engage the Spectre Vedka. The BTR-80 does go down. LRS firing one more law here and getting a kill on another BTR-80, but not before the Motostralkies get out. We see 30mm grenade launches here on the other side as well, as a lot of units enter this building complex. LRS pushed back, should get the hell out of there. Humvee AGL rotating away from this as well. Still continue the engagement. Mech Rifles and Panzer Grenadiers arriving as more infantry here drives into this town as well. Engineer flashes around. No air opener here on the side of the first ACAF, and in the north a bit too many units here sitting around these buildings. As we have LRS and Mech Rifles engaging the units down here in the south. Lamia 30mm grenade launcher though, really strong in these matchups. as everything is kind of firing on them, but they are still with their 4 hit points, stressing out the enemy too quickly and not really going down completely. Able to disengage again. Superior PO now getting engaged into the engagement as well. So the infantry have fights here. Likely not ending well for our player in blue here right now. Would need some extra firepower in that fight. Invested a bit too much here really into the defense in the north. You need to focus on the 2 towns on this map. It's kinda the modern 2 lakes. You can play a bit more around the flanks than on 2 lakes because there is not just a big river, but the 2 towns are the main center of attention. And Moroi did spread out the units in a bit of a wrong order and now pays for it because, like, the cost efficiency is just getting out of hand when you engage 3 units with 5 units or 6 units. Like, the trades just get completely into your favor because your units have more damage and more hit points, and so they can spread out the enemy damage faster, which then means they stress out the enemy units faster, which then means the enemy units deal even less damage. That means you kill them even more efficiently without losing your own units. And that's exactly what happened here, and that's kind of what happens here now as well. So Mark losing both opening points here by just misplacing the opener a bit here, not quite going for either of the towns decisively enough, which is what you have to do on this map. Like, you have to lock on either of the towns or, like, split up 50-50 and then figure out which one the enemy preferred and which one you can win. But you have to invest nearly, like, 90% of your points into those 2 towns at the beginning. And we see Daniel absolutely doing that. Daniel only has 1 defensive infantry unit up north and not even a single defensive unit in the south. You maybe should have a recon unit in here just to make sure that the enemy is just not passing you by. But Daniel did just have more in the points, and because of that, is currently leading with a +6, as Morok also has not brought up any CV units here in the rear. So CV under fire, yeah, leaving your +2 zones without a CV is something that you unfortunately cannot afford in modern Mono either. You could even afford less in early day Mono, but still, you still need a CV in the first, at least after the first tick, get you the points, usually still in the opener. Get you those 2 points. Here we see Hans Grenadiers with Martyrs moving in. And the 11th ACAF, I don't think really a good division for newer players because it needs that really quite expensive combined arms to function. You do not have any cheap tanks, and your infantry tab is relatively limited with relatively expensive infantry as well, and no special forces or so. Your air tab is really powerful, but you have to learn how to survive the ground fight when you invest into a pretty expensive, strong but expensive air tab. And how to combine those 2 things well. And then, yeah, the recon tab is enticing, and you feel like you wanna engage the enemy with that and just go out for the fight, but also there you have to be careful on how to use that strong recon tab without losing your recon units, and then standing there 5 minutes in, having killed a couple of enemy units, but without a combined arms, getting just rolled over by the counterattack. Like, those are the really tough things to balance here. And we see the Mutstraki moving around. As, yeah, if one is missing there, Mr. Boxhead, I am absolutely sorry. I hope you can forgive me. Fancy Grenadiers moving around. Like Ruffle Dragons still sitting in. We had first A-Cap earlier, that's why I think that my brain was just hopping that over, as Brock Spaghetti played the first A-Cap earlier. Aircraft troopers moving in. Getting in here. And yeah, the ADVVs and BMP3s ready for some engagements here as well. Your 80 sitting around here too. The Conquerors and Co. sitting around here too. Nona, SVK, Killing off the Panzer Grenadiers. Is moving forward. Getting finished off as well. Yeah, I fear this game is kind of over. Like, the one thing that could maybe save this for Morok is if Morok activates the units in the north. And activates them in a way that surprises Daniel and pushes with those south. Like, that's the one shot, one opportunity, and he is seizing everything like he's going for it. That's perfect timing there. I did not know that this was coming, but here we go. Maybe not the perfect execution to just set all things moving there, but it's better than not doing it. Um, and we'll see. It still can work out with two M1A1s behind all of this. If you find the right engagements, if Daniel messes up the micro on their side, this still could work out. But obviously not easy. Engineers moving in here. As the south is completely secured. So Daniel also only needs to focus on the north now. And yeah, first engagement here, ATGM, other Milan is hitting, but not dealing much damage. At least the TDBV with its Cobra missile did miss on the other side, but yeah, the M1A1s are the important part, and they are currently not engaging here. Our anger issues tank is not moving into the fight just yet. M113A3 is being pushed back. 1A1s moving south. But not with enough vigor, and yeah, there's still investments here into the south. Currently, you just need to throw everything into the north. Hold up the enemy at Dimitri, but even that, you will have captured it. Might not do as much. The issue is that there's still a +4 here, taking it all down, going from a +6. And yeah, Morok here, sending out the Jaguars, is trying to still establish a defensive line here. As we see the TADBVs and the BTR-80s engaging towards the north. And the Grenadiers trying to move forward. One getting in there. Otlani Podechkido about to ruin their life. Well, striking Medi's already dangerous, but this is the real danger. RPG-29 squad together with SU-17. Daniel here. Really good defense. Daniel is looking damn convincing here in their place. So yeah, Morok here also running into somebody who's just really solid in the fundamentals. Like, this opener obviously was not really pressured, but it in general looked so solid from Daniel. And yeah, Morok just making that mistake in the north. And yeah, in 2026 Warno League, that's enough to lose your game even in the Division 4. Just a slightly misplaced opener, or decently heavily misplaced opener, but like, the allocation of points is the key here. Like, Daniel not top on the micro or anything like that, but just top on the unit, on the macro side of things. Unit allocation was good, combined arms was good, and Morok had the combined arms as well, just not in the right spots. That is costing them game 1 here in a pretty decisive manner, as only 38 seconds remaining here. So Morok will lose this here in a second, and Daniel, a pretty decisive game 1 victory. Yep. 27th, not the super easy division to play, but not that hard either. It has a weakness against good forward deploy divisions, that it does not really have anything fast, really fast either. And special threat guys especially are just a bit too expensive to risk for fights. And then you have the B24K, but if the enemy has forward deploy AA, that does not do much either. But obviously not that much of an issue here. And with that said, Daniel does win the first one here against Morok. And we gotta have to see how game number 2 goes. As if Morok can find a better opener, and maybe try a bit more aggression there. With 119th, a similarly tough division to play to 11th ACAF, like kind of the equivalent on packed side of things against a similar division on Daniel's side. So I'm a bit worried for Morok here in game number 2 as well, but maybe they can get the aggression this time around. onto the enemy. And yep, will be interesting to see. We'll see it all in a minute. You ran away too far. Hey, Mr. Boxet, thanks for the follow. Much appreciated. So here we go. Game number 2. Rock has to get back on Daniel here to get a draw in the series. And he is getting in here with an aggressive opener. 119th, getting in with Spetsnaz and Spetsnaz GRUs across the battlefield. That's on the other side. We see pretty solid mechanized opening here. Both sides gonna use their TO-55s that are given to them as tanks for the opener here. And we have a good amount of BMP-1 EGs, which are pretty efficient when it comes to dealing with the Spetsnaz if they can engage them at range. So this is gonna be interesting. See how all of that will work out if they can get into range here. The other side we have BMP-1P with only the Fagots on the Motostrelkis, around with some Tunguskas behind all of this. PRDM conquers as well. Like this setup already looks a bit more promising to me. It's still relatively spread out, but I like the pressure on the south, like using the forward deploy to try to get in there relatively aggressively, and then try to go for sign with the forces here. Oh, micro there for a second. Hopefully that still gets fixed. Up north. Spetsnaz GRU going into a pretty defensive position. Issue is if you only use the Spetsnaz, and we don't have any Spetsnaz OP on the battlefield, vehicles just can roll over them. The Spetsnaz are really good against infantry, but usually you want to use one Spetsnaz and one Spetsnaz OP unit, because then you have an RPG-29. This way around, you do not have any AT around. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all works out. And if they can get some solid engagements here around the center points. Morocco now getting in there. The fist of Daniel's forces will strike towards Sign here. But still in a good split here between Sign and Paul, and also a decent defensive setup here in the south. I like what we see from Daniel so far. Like, Daniel is setting up really solid combine arms, so both in game 1 and 2. Bringing a mortar even here. to set up potential smoke screens and so on. And yeah, we'll see how this all will go. Spetsnaz GRU now brought up to the front line. BMP1s being in as well. But yeah, 4 Spetsnaz maybe, 1 Spetsnaz too many price-wise in the opener. Spetsnaz and Spetsnaz GRUs are moving in here now. But the Vechevetka similarly fast here. So Morok needs to be on top of their game here to unload in time. Would need to unload now after seeing the UWATs on the other side. Ah, no, no, no. Ooh. He's getting out because the Vechevetka focused the wrong transport. So the Spetsnaz does survive there. Up north though, dangerous game here as well. No, the Spetsnaz do not get out there. Second one are getting out. Can engage here against the Spetsnaz GRU, but do not spot them. Aren't moving quite far enough forward. And the Plamia 30mm grenade launchers are still really annoying to deal with the Spetsnaz as well. They engage you at long enough ranges. So yeah, Spetsnaz here have to be careful. Potentially disengage a bit. Yeah, one Spetsnaz team there up north dying. The unload positions coming a bit too late. Like you have to unload a bit earlier and then walk the rest of the way. Yeah, these Spetsnaz up here not taking the kill against the Spetsnaz GRU. Big mistake as well. As it's engagements everywhere, so obviously the micro is focused around the whole battlefield at the same time. With the next artillery PC already coming in for Daniel, that's maybe a bit early. But he can get away with it against the slow division like Morok's 419. 419 not buying anything yet for 2 minutes. That's worrying, as you really need to get reinforcements in as quickly as possible with this division. Unless you play it the old Star Deck style and just wait for the enemy to to get to you and then you buy all your heavy tanks. But obviously that's really risky and also not really strong right now, I would argue. TO-55s and BMP-1 PGs get killed in decent numbers here right now by Morok, but loses one TO-55 in the middle as well, now has no tank there, and because of the lack of investments here to the front line, there has not been anything bought in 3 minutes. Now we finally start seeing some units, but in the early game especially, you have to be on top of your 60 points of spending every minute. Later on, I don't think it's as important. Like, we have seen players like Dark Neutron who build up a strategic reserve after the 10-minute mark and focus more on the micro and then buy reactionary forces whenever they think they need something on the battlefield again. But in the early stages, you need to be on point to really get your combined arms up, and especially also to be able to keep the pressure up at the points where you need the pressure. As, for example, if you would have infantry reinforcing right now after this airstrike into the south, like this would be easily overwhelmed if there would be 2 more motor strikers now pushing up right at this moment, but they are not. As for HE here, dealing decent damage but not getting any kills. Oh yeah, Morok there in the north a bit stuck. As the Spetsnaz can deal to motor strikers if they avoid the TO-55. There is a TO-55 in the BMP-1 here as well. SU-27 trying to get the MiG-29, Tunguska's, and Coop's involved as well. Tunguska gets the MiG-29 killed. Coop could get the kill against the SU-27, fails to do so. Motostrelki do go down here, so the BMP-1 and the TO-55 now could rotate up north. And yeah, these units here could rotate up south as well. That's Krupa being pushed up again. I like that he brings in recon, Morok that is. And yeah, good thing here for Daniel in general as well. So this placement is terribly risky. Like, you wouldn't want to bring it back here. As the Tunguska goes down here, TO-55 does get a nice kill. Does fall for it, but that's a worthwhile trade. But you should push in here with your infantry without the recon even. Yes, you see a good bit less, but you would want to figure out if there's anything in here and what you maybe can see with just your infantry here. Could catch the conquerors with that. if you're moving them in the right buildings. The BMP-1 K3 will take the capture over the center zone here. So the Spetsnaz opener in the end still getting a tick online here for now. Question is just uh, how do you move from here into the next part? And yeah, this was a bit of a panic smoke. Usually you want to just use one unit to smoke off for the whole formation. Just click one and smoke there, instead of smoking for all of them at once. Especially if the ATGM is still that far out. And in the end, it was not even the unit that was hit by the ATGM. That was the TO here. So TO in the end even goes down to that. As the BMP2 also now in gun range here against the Motorstralkies that will be getting out of the way here though. But OP Spetsnaz in the north going down as well. And yeah, how do you invest into TADUs now? No. Rock, you cannot invest into artillery at this point. Oh, this is way too early. You cannot invest into artillery here as Daniel either. He did though. But yeah, especially double muster is not something that you can afford at this point as the player in blue. Did get a counter battery here against the D30, sure, but D30 is not really a problem right now. Problem is that you have T80s on the battlefield on the other side, and you don't have a T80 to face them. And your T80s would be better, but yeah, you need to be able to afford them, and that is not an easy task. As the BMP-1 Fagots get into the engagement again. Get the side shot though! Oh, I spoke too early. Daniel there with the slight miss micro. Showing side armor. Obviously, yeah, MBTs really have to be careful with how you turn them. Like, from the side armor, they are just so flimsy. And that's really one of the issues with MBTs, especially more expensive MBTs, for newer players, that yeah, side shot chances are pretty high by just slightly mismarkering, and then they just pop off and explode. And yeah, good kill there for the BMP-1s, and really securing Morocco's chances now for stabilizing the center. His northern position is still not great. He gets the 120mm mortar. His master beast here, potentially with a chance of getting even more kills here in the near future. Ooh, one needs to be careful, but BMP2 does get killed by the OP Spetsnaz. So, yeah, Morok holding out decently well this time around. A way better opener, leading to a way better game here already. SU-24 HE was brutal earlier. This should be brutal here now as well. Both Motorstrike squads likely dead, maybe even all three. Don't think the splash is big enough for the first one to die though. No, but still two Motorstrike teams going down there. Masters with the potential counter battery here again. That's super. Oh yeah, everything dying here in the north. There's no GRU and Co. 55 and just Superiapio moving in, but should just cut your losses here as Morocco and not reinforce directly into this point. There are just way too many enemy units. Try to set up a new defensive line around here. You still have the center, so even if the north gets lost, you won't get ticked again. You still have a good position in the south that you maybe could push to gain more advantage towards the south. Will get some BMP-1 skills here, as his BMP-1s are engaging the enemy here. Gunfire here gets the route. GM still does hit for some reason. In the end, still a kill here. As the D30 artillery piece does get counter batteried on the left side there. Motorstralkies and BMP-1s all going down. The Mi-8 MT Escorty getting some shots out there with its rockets, but the two big rockets not impacting directly on target. So in the end, not all that much damage dealt. Escorty in the north are not firing the rockets on the right targets against the tank. It's not all that effective. You want to usually fire it on light vehicles and infantry. The Mi-8 MT Escorty here, yeah, now engaging against infantry targets, but out of ammo now. Will need to get reloaded. Fly helicopter moving in, but it should stay further back here. As one reinforcement moving in. But yes, still the attrition rate pretty high on both sides, and both sides are quite expensive, but 119th even more expensive than 79th, so investing into any tanks still kind of impossible here. The new T80 has arrived. It's 245 points still, but that's still a good bit less than the 315 that you have to pay for the heavy tanks on the other side. So you can still slip it in a bit easier there. Conquerors and Co. all moving in. Mazdas should now get active roles in their artillery. They went around with the counter battery. There is a grab now, so if you can catch that with counter battery, that obviously would be nice as well. But at the same time, just the front line is completely gone here. The attrition rate just a bit too high right now for Morok again, as more recon units have to be brought, light AT and all, but none of the tanks on the battlefield yet, and that's usually the anchor that you need at this point. Like at the 12-minute mark, you need a TADU or UD on the battlefield to have an anchor that the enemy has to focus on and that your other units can fight around with the enemy shooting at the heavy tanks so that your other units can engage the enemy units at the same time. That's not the case here right now, though. So, yeah, Pulumachiki under fire. That's not GRU. Pushing the BMP-1 K3. Getting the kill there. And I liked the opener a good bit more for Morok right now. But Daniel just a bit more solid in the fundamentals, it feels like. As I said, I wasn't the biggest fan of the artillery piece. I'm not the biggest fan of the Grud right now, as there is just no unit concentration on the other side. Like instead of the Grad, another T80 on the front line would have been massive, or another AA unit. But it's still, the combined arms is just that good bit better and easier to use. It's once more Morok playing divisions that are pretty hard to use, and then yeah, struggling a bit to keep that combined arms around the battlefield. Artillery trying to land on targets, parry RPOs, getting into the fight as the Master Beast pack up and push forward here. Conquers ATGMs, bring in Rat, gauging against the enemy rear units here. Master B under fire. Might even get the counter battery kill here. Actually, rather likely getting the counter battery killed. The Master is counter batterying against the Rat at least, but would need some good hits there. First shots landing towards the target now, but not on target. They're just a bit too far back. HE bombers getting around, getting some hit. BRDM 2 Conquerors though going down. Rat might actually go down here. It's routed. Can the last shot find the kill? That would be nice. Yes, it can find the kill. So at least the counter battery there coming in time for Morok, but at the same time, everything here kind of lost in the middle, and he doesn't have a combined arms yet and anymore, and that's really classic 119th issue here, showing up for our Blair in blue. The SU-24 HE flying in as well, going for the bombing run against targets in the south here. BMP-1 PG, Motostralki and all in targeting range. Coops and Eagles getting the fire out here. SU-24 pushed back, forced back out of there. BMP-1 does go down, at least the Mi-24 in a decent spot, but yeah, with the Eagle now firing, needs to get the heck out of there as well. Moving the wrong direction. Not quite sure what that movement was supposed to do. It was not good enough though. Before it does go down. S24 Seed. Interesting investment here. But not something that you can afford when the ground is looking the way it is right now. And currently the ground feels like lava because it's all red. And yeah, one coup kill here is nice. But won't save you from the enemy push if it gets into your northern point. There's not Motostralki in the south here, keeping up the pressure. UCV, the parries all moving in. As Strala 10Ms moving up to the front line. Tunguska all moving in. Yeah, still not a single heavy tank here on the side of Morok. Still not really a point where he could have afforded it due to his investment into the seed and into the artillery. Obviously, if he does not buy those, then times get easier. And Yeah, SU-24 HE comes around again, does get a devastating hit in the south, as BTRs and BMP-1 PGs swing in here into the south as well. A little more cheeky, at least in dealing with the infantry, and getting close here as well, but out of RPGs. Motostrelki not quite close enough, and good movement here from Daniel. Getting out of the way, SU-27S pushing up in the north, but gets stunned and forced back too. Plane still flying around. The ADBVK trying to get into the center as MTLBs all sitting around. Master B didn't really get any valuable hits on anything but the enemy artillery yet. At least killing the Grad and the D30. So it did not do nothing, but it did not help out at actually controlling the front line, and that's what the struggle is right now for Morok. ADBVK is nice and all, but it's a bit late. We have a bit little recon around it here right now, and the +4 is taking against Morok again. So situation here starts to get into trouble. SU-24 M getting the bomb drop off. Failing to hit TDBV. Umbrella and M moving up. Umbrella moving through the front line here. There's, yeah, a lot of infantry here dying now on the blue side. Very Rajvetka and all, because they do not have fire support vehicles behind them, whilst on the outside there is fire support vehicles, and there's really cost-efficient fire support vehicles on PG. For Daniel, all around the battlefield. Like BMP-1 PG, anti-SU-24s, that was the main reasons why the 79 feels as good as it does. 27 trying to get a kill here, but fails to do so. Here M1K is against the Plamias. Escorties move up north again. Trying to get some rocket barrages around again. All the targets, Motostrelki under fire. ADBVK engaging against the Plamias. Perry going down, fighting the dust. New Rajvetka BMP2 moves in from the rear. 8 MT Escorti getting back as a resupply helicopter now next to it. That is decent fire support, but you still would need a bit more. And now the two fighters actually coming around, dealing with the Mi-8 on the ground. Kruzavoy and the S-27s and Tunguskas can deal with a bit of this. One MiG-23 shot down, but on the same time, infantry going down, cluster bomber, the amazing SU-24M cluster 2 getting the kill here against the TDBV. Yeah. It's to a good extent, I think, the matchup, but also does more not really setting up the combined arms in the right order on these matches here. Daniel just really playing standard good games. Like, he did not do the perfect micro, but he did do the really good fundamentals, and that is what gets you high in Division 4. And like after this game, I have Daniel for sure marked as playoffs, but Morok for sure will need to get a bit more practice out here before the next game. They have time. Group stage is going for quite a while, so you can take your time, practice a bit more. before getting into your next game. But yep, good first series still for the learning experience and all, and getting us back into the Division 4 mindset, where it is all about the fundamentals, and Daniel is executing those really, really nicely. And gets an ATGM here out. BMP1 PG gets a hit. BMP2 getting it routed, forcing it back, whilst up north, BMP1 K3 is getting ready to get into the zones as well. TO55 slowly moving through it all, but there is just not a cohesive combined arms. All the infantry is now dead, and infantry is really expensive to replace, and especially slot-wise on the side of our player in blue here. Morok has an SU-27 behind enemy lines, +4. Means that there is only 3 minutes remaining here, and Daniel can just push in. I like the SU-27 here. Like, this is a... Not at this stage, actually. Just doesn't have enough missiles, but flying an SU-27 here for the ambush in general, good idea and all. You can see that Morok has some solid knowledge about the game and about moves like this, but does not quite have the perfect connection between all those moves yet. And as I said, if you then play a division like 11th ACAF or 119th, you do not do yourself a favor when it comes to win rate, because those divisions are pretty hard to play. So if you master them, then obviously every division becomes a lot easier. It's if you move from them to other divisions that get combined arms thrown at them each minute, like, it feels so much easier to play. Not maybe like the skill ceiling and the power level is really high for 11th and 119th, especially for 11th. I would argue like 11th is a really strong powerhouse right now. It's a tough division to learn, and it's a tough division to really get your hang on when you are still struggling to keep up with the base micro across the battlefield and so on. So props from Morok for playing them, but maybe for the tournament should find some easier divisions to play, like for example the 79th, and also to some extent the 27th that we saw out of Daniel here. Daniel staying with the Soviet mech stuff as well, obviously gives you some solid feeling from game 1 to game 2, like you don't have to change up all too much in your pattern of play, which also can help in the tournament. Also, obviously, can make it easier for the enemy to play against you, and especially on higher levels, that can be a problem if you're just too predictable, and especially if the other players know you. But in Division 4, that's much less of a problem. And so Tunguska does get killed here. Yeah, or Conquerors does go down as well. So yeah, we only see TO55s and so on. We finally see the first TADU, but there is no combined arms around the left port anymore on the battlefield. So he does try some counter battery, but even there, Daniel is trying to micro out of the way. It's not perfect timing and all, but is still trying to get out of the way. So you can see both players are absolutely active across the map. Just that, yep, the one player here is using the better setup for it. Really, the BMP1 PG is such a good move on the side of Daniel here. It's a relatively obvious one, but still one that, yeah, if you have to choose here, not just go for the high-tech BMP2, bring some BMP1 PGs to really mess with the enemy forward deploy infantry, and in general, did that so fantastically, and will be rewarded with a victory here in game number 2 in a couple of seconds as well. See the Akacia, the rear, getting involved, seed plane once more, just being used for strafing here, as no seed targets left on the battlefield. But in that case, you might as well use it, though it does go down here in the end. K55 and BRM1K getting killed as well, as, yeah, the cohesion is just completely broken here. Battery still trying its counter battery. Yeah, the last 3 seconds here. GGVP. Daniel has become one of the guys to watch here in Division 4. And yeah, was a way better game 2 here from Morok. Still not quite good enough. Still, some of the fundamentals were just not quite on par with what Daniel brought to the battlefield here. I like the taste for divisions here from Morok. yeah, they either need to play it a bit more with a couple of expert 11th AKF and 119th players like Skate, or they might need to tone it down a bit with the complexity in their divisions that they pick. So yeah, GVP here to Daniel taking the 2-0 victory. With that said, guys, we're gonna end it here for today again. We're gonna cast a lot more over the weekend again. Yeah, just wanna keep my voice working. Have a long day in the office tomorrow as well. Hope you all had a good day though. Yeah, hope you all enjoyed it. If you are watching this on YouTube, consider leaving a like so that more people get this content to see as well and grow the Warner competitive scene further. And yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. See you all in the next one. Bye bye.